My skin shone like caramel in the summer sun as I played in the garden outside her home in Sri Lanka. Honeysuckle sweetened the air. I drew in a breath and let it fill my lungs. Small as they were, I was only 5, such a little girl in a world so big. Yet I felt carefree and safe. Joy bubbled within me. I raised my arms and imagined them as wings. I was a mighty bird drifting across the cloudless sky, running in circles with my wings spread full. I gasped, laughed, and then stood still, for in that moment I felt something strange and new, a presence quiet and comforting, hovering, nearly tangible. It pressed in closer and closer. I had never experienced anything like this before, but I wasn't scared. I felt strangely protected, cherished, even loved. Peering closer toward what seemed to be its direction, I half expected to see the empty air staring back at me with noticeable face and features. Instead, I saw nothing, but I knew someone was there, a strong man who seemed to stir the breeze as he moved, too visceral to be invisible. Goosebumps broke out on my skin, and powerful excitement filled my tiny frame. Resuming my play, I looked back, still expecting to see a physical person. Again, there was no one. I laughed. It became a game. Play, turn back, giggle, play, turn back, giggle. This presence was so enticing, so warm. I didn't want our time to end. And even when it did, somehow, I knew he would come back again. I was a happy little girl growing up in Sri Lanka, especially when I was with my mother, my mummy. I always wanted to be by her side. Her big, beautiful smile warmed me, and her hearty laugh echoed throughout the house. If I close my eyes, I can still picture her in the long cotton gown she wore at home, remembering how she tried to get me to eat when I was very young. I reached for her long, curly black hair, teasing her with my mischievous eyes. "One more bite, little Rifqa," she said in Tamil, our native language. Opening my mouth wide, I let her feed me with her hands. I savored the taste, rice balls flavored with curry. "Okay, let's make this one an airplane. Open wide, Rifqa." Mummy's plane delivered its payload. I chewed open-mouthed and let out a squeal. She made meals fun, knowing it was the only way she could get me to eat. Airplane after airplane flew across the table and into my mouth. Back then, my mother occasionally spoiled me when Daddy was out of the house. Sometimes, she'd let me try on nail polish, even though my Muslim family did not allow me to wear it because they say it makes us unclean. But she let me keep a stash that I would hide and then wear when no one could see. I knew once I was old enough to pray, I would not be allowed to use it anymore. Still, I would never forget the twinkling of my fingernails in the dim light of my room. Early memories of my dad aren't as easy to recall, but I do know I adored him. I thought he was huge. I now realize his height is average, but back then he was the biggest person in my little world, which made me believe he was safe and would keep me out of harm's way. I loved his attention whenever I could get it, and more than anything, I ached to be special to him, like a prize he would forever treasure. My father supported us by selling gemstones, often to dealers in America. It was not unusual for him to be away for months at a time on business. I didn't understand as a child why he was gone for so long, but I remember my joy when he returned. Once, when he came home after one of his lengthy trips, he looked different. His normally clean-shaven face was dark and fuzzy. I reached up to feel his cheek, then put my own cheek against his prickly face, squealing with delight. Instead of running away, I rubbed my other cheek against his and shrieked some more. He smiled at my fascination with his beard. Over the next few years, he frequently brought me clothes or candy from his faraway travels. Though I delighted in those, the real treats for me were the rare times he stayed home for more than a few days in a row. Those were the times when we could all be together. Despite being gone often, my dad was a faithful leader at our mosque. It was both his honor as a man and his duty as a Muslim. Just as I was born Rifqa Bary, just as I was born Tamil, I was also born a Muslim. Of course I was too young to understand at 5 what Islam really meant for me and the people around me. But it was quite clear that this was who we were, what we would always be. The strict Muslim culture was all I had ever known, so I accepted it as normal. Every person and every day belonged to Allah. That's just the way it was. Who would ever feel the need to question something so settled and certain? My devout family followed all the required rituals of Islam. The 5 daily prayer recitations, the fasting and feasting, the memorization of the Quran. Some of my earliest memories involved getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning during the holy month of Ramadan, eating a meal before sunrise that my mother had prepared, then going back to bed, under orders to say a special memorized prayer that I recited to myself as I tried drifting back off to sleep. By as early as age 7, I was expected to participate in the all-day fasting, no food at all, not even a drink of water, until 7 or 8 at night, when we were allowed to break our fast with some dates, as well as a Sri Lankan soup my mother made every day for the occasion.